Hi everyone, this is Felipe. Welcome to episode 2 of Becoming a Better Singer. If you didn't watch episode 1, please, before you watch this episode, go back to episode 1. Otherwise, you might be lost in this episode 2. You might miss out on why I'm saying certain things. If you feel confident that you can get by without it, or if you have some experience with music, or if you've watched episode 1 before, let's dive in and let's talk about this subject of becoming a better singer. Now, in episode 1, I did mention that there are 3 key things to becoming a better singer. Today, we're going to analyze one of those 3 things I mentioned about becoming a better singer. And that point that I want to discuss is knowing your range. What do we mean by knowing your range? Now, to help me explain this, I'm going to switch to some slides. So, here's the first slide. And to start the slides off, I'm going to be talking about the male voice ranges first. So the first voice we want to consider in the male voice range is the countertenor. Now I'm sure you've heard of the 3 tenors and so on, Pavarotti and so on. And those singers have wonderful tenor voices. However, there are some men whose voices can go above the typical tenor range. And because they can go higher than the typical tenor, they're called countertenors. Now, the jury is still out as to whether countertenor is an actual male voice category or not. Some people say yes, some people say no. I'm not going to get involved with the controversy. I'm just going to relate the facts as I know them. So, what some people say is that countertenors don't actually sing the higher notes naturally. What they do is transition to a falsetto. Now, some of you are probably asking, what's a falsetto? A falsetto is an Italian word that means false or fake. So, it's a high-pitched voice, but it's not natural. It's not within the natural range. So because of that, they say it's not a true voice classification. What does a falsetto sound like? So let me do a falsetto. We belong together. So that's a falsetto that I did, but it's outside my natural range. I'm a baritone. And some people do a falsetto real well. My falsetto isn't particularly attractive to listen to. But what some critics are arguing is that some tenors can do a very good falsetto, and that really doesn't qualify as a natural voice. We don't know. We really don't know. Who are we to say that these people don't have a special gift that allows them to go higher than the typical male? So that's one of the reasons why I don't want to get involved with that controversy. So for the sake of this video, we're going to say that the countertenor is the highest male voice. Now, if we continue down, we come across the tenor. And the tenor, you can see the tenor, his voice range straddles middle C. You see that dot in the middle of the piano? That dot is on the key that is known as middle C. So what does middle C sound like? That's middle C. So in the middle of the piano, we have middle C, and the tenor's voice straddles middle C. And if we go to the baritone, you can see that the baritone can hit fewer keys above middle C. And if we go to the bass singer can only hit 2 notes above middle C. Some bass singers have the ability to go higher. That's why you have those 2 keys that are yellow above his natural range. And some bass singers can go even lower than what is typically considered part of the bass range. And those 2 yellow keys on the left will show exactly what I'm talking about. Some can go that low, but it's not typical. Most will sing in a range that is covered by those keys colored in green. So now that we're done with the male voices, let's move on to the female voices. Now, before we do that, let's look at this chart that covers all the male voice ranges, starting from the countertenor down to the tenor, baritone, and then bass. And as you go up in the voice ranges, you can see that the singers that can sing higher notes, they cover more and more notes above middle C. So let's jump on to the first slide that covers the female voices. And the highest female voice is the soprano. A good soprano singer is something wonderful to behold. They're revered and cherished, a very good soprano singer. And here we can see that the soprano singer doesn't really do any notes below middle C. Some exceptional soprano singers have the ability to do about 2 notes below middle C. And some can even do 2 notes above. Finding someone, a woman who can sing 2 notes higher than middle C as well as 2 notes below, that's very rare. I don't know of anyone who can do that. Maybe there is someone. My music knowledge is not that extensive. Usually you'll find such performers in the opera, and I'm not really moving in that scene. But if you know of anyone, please feel free to comment below and let me know if there's any soprano singer who can sing 2 notes higher than the normal soprano range and 2 notes lower than the normal soprano range. Moving on, we get to the mezzo soprano. And mezzo means middle in Italian. So the mezzo soprano cannot go as high as the soprano. However, the advantage she has is that she can do 2 or even 4 notes below middle C. So she's a bit more versatile because most songs don't require a soprano to go to the very high end of their range. But they do require a few notes below middle C. And that's where a mezzo soprano may have an advantage over a pure soprano. Moving on, we get to the contralto. The contralto can do a lot of the notes that the soprano and the mezzo soprano can do, but she can also do 4 natural notes below middle C, and sometimes she could even do an additional 2 notes as well as 2 notes higher than middle C. So on either end, and I'm going to assume that there are probably a few more women who can achieve that compared to a soprano who can go outside her range. So those are the typical voice ranges for women. Soprano at the top, mezzo soprano in the middle, and then contralto below. Now, the question some of you will have is, how do I know what voice category I'm in? Here's how you do it. If you have a piano or an electronic keyboard like I have here, find middle C, and it's easy to find middle C. It's right smack in the middle of the piano. So you go middle C and you go C, 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 D, 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 E, E, and you keep going up until you find your upper limit. Then you do the opposite for the other direction. B, 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 A, 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 G, 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 F, F, F. And then you can keep going down. Once you find your limit where your voice can't go any lower, then you know where your lower limit is and you can stop there. Some of you might be saying, what do I know about middle C and whatever? I just need to sing karaoke with my friends. Okay, let's do it this way. Think of a singer who you like to imitate. You probably like to imitate that singer because their voice range is similar to yours. Do some research. Look up on Wikipedia. Look up on Google and find out what that singer's voice is categorized as. Once you know that, you can say, okay, yes, I'm a baritone or I'm a soprano or whatever. You know what category you're in. And once you figure that out, come back and watch my 3rd episode of Becoming a Better Singer, and I'll show you how to work with the range that you have. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. My channel isn't monetized. I do this stuff because I like to teach and I like to impart knowledge to people. I make no money. YouTube is not supposed to put ads on my channel. They can if they want to, but if they do, I don't get anything in return. And this is all voluntary. My kids are studying music right now, and because I like to sing, And with COVID-19, we're all at home, so I'm taking the time to make this video. Normally I'll be making videos about drones, but I'm taking the time to make videos on music so that the kids who are at home, spending more time at home, can find wholesome, useful stuff to watch on the internet. So thanks again for tuning in, and don't forget to look out for episode 3. Subscribe to my channel. Once episode 3 is available, you will know.